Welcome to this edition of the Evolution of the Great Cow series, sponsored by Showbox Sires. Each bull that we have with Showbox Sires, we make a new podcast with interesting people that are involved in the pedigree of the bull. And today we're excited to welcome Adam from Walnutlawn and have him talk a little bit about the top side of this pedigree. And of course, Mike Duckett, my partner in Showbox Sires, who always joins us on these podcasts with insightful information. But we're here today to talk about our next release through Select Sires, 744 HO 17702, Haveitall Sidekick Image. This bull, every time we talk about another Doc son, Mike, we've got more enthusiasm than we'd had for the previous one. But this one, can't wait to talk with you guys about and get your views of how this bull is bred and what he's going to do. So, Mike, if you'd take it away.
Welcome, Adam, to our podcast. It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. And if you would, I know Walnutlawn. I remember going there a long time ago and met your dad, and it was very obvious as we walked through the barn. Cow families mean everything to Walnutlawn's breeding philosophy, and I remember being there and kind of had some cow families that have put some great bulls into AI. Could you just touch base on some of those bulls and the cow families that they come from?
With that, I guess the two that stick out, I think, in my mind are both from our Lavengard Sioux family, Sidekick and Solomon. Both of them are number one conformation bulls in Canada. The family came to us through Misty Springs Lavengard Sioux. We bought her. She was an 87.2-year-old. She was only about, I think it was 3 to 4 weeks fresh. We bought her right before Royal time. She was consigned to the Sale of Stars, and what really appealed to us was the deep pedigree, and genomics was kind of coming on then, and we thought she could have a chance to be she was already extremely high conformation, but we thought she could even be number one, which she did end up as number one conformation cow in Canada. And then Sidekick and Solomon have been kind of like a dream come true for me. To see daughters of those two bulls in the show ring and scoring excellent, producing well for breeders around the world has been really satisfying. And this year, actually, I got to Madison for the first time in 7 or 8 years, and it was the first time I seen Footloose. For me, that it meant a lot. It was really neat to see her, world champion, sired by her bull. It was really satisfying to see in your string, and she looked incredible.
Well, we certainly appreciate that, and like Solomon, he's been one of those bulls that I still get people today. Just had some people from Europe asked me if I would do a cow to Solomon to make some embryos. Footloose and some of them great cows just keeps him extending his life as far as in demand because he does such great things. And Solomon, he goes, all back to the splendors and all that. It's pretty neat to see how deep that cow family goes.
And one thing that I guess in the family we really appreciated is we are a small herd. We don't have a lot of access to recipients, and Sue and even Summer as well. Then it was particularly those two. We were able to turn out really high genomic animals from very few offspring. I think we had 2 doorman sons, and of course one of them was Solomon. And there was one, I was thinking about it this morning, there was 1 or 2 Abbott sons. I think Sidekick was the only son. I think we had a son and a daughter, and that was it. But there could have been a second one. I can't remember for sure. But still is a potent transmitting family. And it didn't take large numbers to hit those high ones that for us, and it's been neat to see them prove out and turn out as genomics predicted.
And now we've got Sidekick, another bull that, he's been around a long time, and you still see calves. There was a Sidekick calf in the December calf that I just loved at the Hayes that ended up second there. Then you go to the cows, then they're 2-year-olds, they're age cows. It just shows you the power of those bulls. They're not just a fad. The people are still using those bulls. And I think, really the only thing about Sidekick, I mean, his sire's got a kind of a bad name with Abbott, but other than that, he's been a great bull for us.
Adam, to get you at Expo, on the right side, we had Footloose, sired by Solomon, and on the left side, we had the new Juby 36 that we just bought. She's a Sidekick, and that would have been kind of a neat picture because we think the 2 cows are mirror images of each other. Footloose is a young cow. She looks a lot like Juby 36.
She's an impressive cow. Yeah, I really like that. I didn't know exactly what the name was, but I was going to mention, the Sidekick Juby, like she's a really impressive cow. And when standing there and looking at those, pretty neat. I actually pulled out my phone, had a little video of Footloose, and went up to the sign, highlighted on Walnutlawn, and showed that to my son. Like it's neat stuff for us. We really appreciate see those cows turning out so well from our bulls. Mike, you mentioned there about how they turned out, and that's something that we're really proud of with Sidekick and Solomon. Earlier this summer, I was kind of doing some reviewing, and just I was thinking that Sidekick, he's held his numbers what he was predicted at for type. And so I actually went back and I sorted through when he was originally got his genomics, he was 22 for type, number one. Taking away the rollbacks, because we're usually about 0.7 to 1 point confirmation a year. I think he's dropped 1 point if you take those rollbacks out. So to see how he's held on, he's turned out the daughters, his genomics were accurate, is something we're really proud of with him as well.
Consistency of your family, I'm thinking the first time I went to Walnutlawn, it was with our mutual friend Brad Brenneman. Do you remember that day, Adam? We
Yep.
came and walked through your herd, and well, we did have a really nice bull from you guys finally for our program there, but different family. Yeah, I've been amazed at how well this family has transmitted. This spring, I had the chance to go to the UK, and I was at Willsboro where Abbott was bred. And I think it's one of the greatest large herds of cattle I've ever been in. I didn't know much about where the bull came from. How did Sidekick come about? Can you tell us the story behind how he was made and why you did the mating?
At the time, Summer was first lactation. She was 88.2-year-old, and she was allergic to faltropin. So we were actually at the time rolling her through IVF with no drugs. We went, we got her pregnant. I think she was pregnant first, then we ran her through a few times. IVF up here is quite a bit more expensive than it is for you guys in the US. And so it was expensive, but we knew we had a special cow. And I think we did her twice to Abbott. Like at that time, we were using no drugs. We weren't getting a lot of eggs, but they were quite fertile. Luckily, we turned them out. For me, the reason we went with Abbott was I like to select bulls that are nice jumps above parent average. And I do mostly focus on the Canadian system. And he was a bull that was just really well-rounded, good LPI, good production, good type. He wasn't the highest type, but he was way above parent average. Being a satisfaction son, he was different. We thought he was worth trying. And I do remember at the time, one thing I really liked about the cross was genomics predicted he was to be so good for loin strength and squaring up the back end. And I thought he was a great cross on Summer for that reason. Turned out really well. I still say Abbott's the best bull for putting on a wedgie loin on a cow that there is. So we got to give credit where it's due for him. He's in our herd. He's been an exceptional bull. Last I had it up, and I'm pretty sure I'm not missing any. We had 4 excellent and 3 very goods by him. Just long-lasting cows that milked well. Not in not extreme production, but good components. We talk about families, and he goes back quite a few generations, but goes back through Atlee and Chief Adine. So I mean, there's the family. Again, there's added reliability with the strength of those families, and yeah, I think he's a bull that, due to his HCD, it being an HCD carrier, obviously we were really fortunate. Sidekick didn't get that. I think he missed a lot of opportunities. Maybe we just were fortunate with him, but in my mind, he's a bull that really could have left a mark if he got more options or more tries and used more often. And I understand HCD held him back, but I think he's been an exceptional bull for us. Most of our best stuff has him behind him somewhere now.
The boys at Willsboro, we had a great visit about the impact of that bull around the world. I think, as Mike said, one of the limiting factors was HCD, but also the name. We've kind of gone around in circles here, but the real purpose of this call today is to talk about Image. And the reason we named him Image is because when we saw the genomics on this bull, we thought he was the perfect image of Doc and Sidekick put together. So tell us a little bit about what you think on paper this bull looks like.
One of the last times we were able to do Doc, I think you and I are struggling on deciding what bull do we use, because she was always a cow. I mean, she was getting out there probably 150 days and carrying a calf, and we're like, all right, this is our last time. One thing we've noticed with Doc, no matter what bull you use, she puts a ton of milk to him. Nice type and all of her good traits. And we thought, not many bulls have calves that are winning shows and age cows winning shows with the kind of cow family behind them as Sidekick. And we wanted to do a cool mating because we thought Doc could bring the milk up to where, we could use a bull, and she really brought it up. for us, it's just a logical mating, putting two great cow families and a great bull and a great cow together. When you see his genomics, it fit. It was just the best of both worlds. That's why we're so excited about him, because I think he can do a lot of great things.
And Adam, in prep for this, I sent you the linear chart on the bull, which I think is pretty neat. I think it's as close to the perfect linear chart on a young bull as you could have. Give us your thoughts, your views of how the bull looks on his predictions and what he's going to do, what he could sire.
When I look at two things immediately jumped out at me, and first one Mike touched on, 890 pounds of milk is a lot of milk for a sidekick son. Like, that's really a lot of milk.
Yeah.
And so, with nice pluses on components as well. Those are important things. And so he definitely puts the milk in there, and then on his type traits, right away jumps out that he's right-sided linears. He's very consistent all the way through. He's the only one that's not a big plus is he's level on his pins. He's right around zero. Other than that, he's plus on everything, and looks to me like he'll make very well balanced cows. And being at the Madison and the Royal this past year, I think we're seeing, at least to me, it looked like we're even seeing more of a trend to the really well balanced cows in the show ring as well, that are doing well and placing high. Very well rounded in that way.
To us, he looks like that bull that you can use so many different directions. And to the thing that probably stands out to us the most is the opportunity to use him on lambdas, with all the lambda blood out there, thinking about, the way he makes them. And you're getting the style from both Doc and Sidekick, great udders on both sides of the pedigree and enough milk. So we're excited about that. Adam, for you, as you think about all the ingredients of this family, I think he can make calves and cows that'll grow up to be show cows as well. And just your thoughts of how the family develops from that standpoint, from pretty calves up to great cows.
I think a lot of that comes from the balance that I think comes through Sidekick. There's balance in this bull. We see that. One thing that the Doc brought to the table here also is high wide rear udders, and he's 3.62 and 3.64 on his attachments. The Sidekick side of the pedigree, I would say from the entire Sioux family, the strength that I see, there's two that I think are very clear strengths. The family biggest strengths would be four udder attachment. They almost never miss. We see it in the barn, and we've seen it on the proofs of the bulls as well. They just hammer them right in there, welded right in, and that's definitely a strength of the family. Also, through the summer branch of the Sioux family, we've seen exceptional genomic somatic cell scores. We're now working with females 2 to 5 generations on from summer, and we see it in the real life data as well. They're excellent for somatic cell, and that's something I found interesting in the family. Is Sioux was one we had to protect a little bit on somatic cell. It was one generation that it was all of a sudden our genomic scores came up better, and you hoped it was going to be real, and real life data has proven that they do excel for somatic cell as well.
Tell us about Walnutlawn today, Adam. We should have done it when we introduced you, but you reference what your herd's like. Tell us how many cows, who's involved, how your operation is run.
I guess we're getting close to 5 years ago now. We moved from a tie stall into a new freestall barn. We built it for 110 cows, put 2 Lely A5 robots in. Been an excellent change. The cows are doing exceptionally well. Milk comes much easier than they had. And before we moved in, I had a lot of people asking if our breeding will change, and I said I hope not. And I hope what we're breeding for is what we need. I would say that as far as the focus on extremely deep families and strong breeding families is absolutely no different at all. The type of cow I think has gone with the industry trend as well, for a little bit more balance. In this barn, I really focus heavily on width. I don't mind the big cows. Like I often think there's times we confuse the big cows and the tall cows. Like, I love massive open ribbed huge cows, but they don't have to be super tall. If they are tall, I'm okay with that if they got strength and if they still have that balance. So our breeding's changed a little bit in that way, that we're really focusing more even than we were on strength, but we're still on looking for strong cow families. We are a small herd still. I'm the only full-time employee here. And then I have help each morning for a couple hours from a lady who does really good work for us. And then my son is 16, and when he's not playing sports or at school, he's he's really keen and he's involved quite heavily as well.
Next generation of Walnutlawn, it's kind of like, Mike's got a son that's coming on at Duckett's. You've got the son coming. You've got an advantage of 10 years over Mike, so you can join me here in Florida a little quicker than Mike, maybe, Adam. But you've bred such a great herd and so well respected that it's fun. Also, one other thing, Adam, you continue to breed great ones, but you got a great young cow that you're involved with that hopefully Showbox Sires is going to have a son from eventually. Tell us a little about that cow, because she's pretty exciting. Mike, you've seen her as well, and I'll let Mike comment too.
It goes back to the Barbie family, full pedigree. We've been pretty fortunate. Lambda Beyonce from the family, from our alligator Briar cow, who's a cow we're working with really heavy now. She calved in, was max score here, I guess earlier. I think it was in the spring, early spring or late spring, whatever. Well, she calved a year ago, but sorry, scored in the spring. Sold half her to Hodgland. I love the shows, always have, and still do. But I'm pretty happy to eat a grilled cheese and watch from the sidelines. I don't have the expertise to get these cows out in top shape, and we sold half her to Hodgland. They did a tremendous job getting cows ready and looking after cows there. And then Butler View purchased her then in I guess it was later spring then. So she's at Butler View, and she was fourth then at Madison and the Royal, and she's been a pretty neat cow for us. It's interesting because I see a lot of mirroring from the Sioux family and this family as well. We got Sue and Briar, who are the kind of the matriarchs of the family, really breed really well, and their first daughter calved in and really hit the showtime and able to get out in the rings. And Beyonce as well has some really interesting sons, and her sisters have some sons just coming on right now too that we're really excited about. So I'd really love to see a son from Beyonce at some point at Showbox Sires as well. So hopefully that can happen down the road.
No, that's good. Mike, you've seen the cows. Tell us a little about what you think.
So actually, I had a really good view of her because she stood one in front of me at Madison. I got to see her very well. That cow family actually, obviously we're all fans of Barbie, but Atwood Brady spent a little time here at Duckett Holsteins before she went to Walnutlawn. We were fortunate enough, we're only about 20-30 minutes from Sandy Valley, and we calved a few of their cows in during the winter. So then she went to Walnutlawn, and now she's making, that family has grown. And with Alligator Briar, we'd certainly love to have something from Walnutlawn from this cow family at some point here. Just proof that deep cow families, they're hard to get rid of. Barbie, she's keeps popping up. The Splendors and Sue's, and those great cow families, they get distant, but they're still back there, and you can tell they just keep hanging on. And those are the ones that make the bulls that make the impacts.
And I laugh, Mike, because Adam said how few shots on goal you really get, Adam, because you're a small herd and you're not running one of these big mills that's turning out, you're not getting 50 results a month on Walnutlawn bulls, and you continue to hit it out of the park. So I do think there's something in the pudding there. You've got something figured out. So Mike and I need to trail you around a little bit, maybe. So Mike, how do you see yourself using Image? We referenced it a little bit before, but what do you plan to do with the bull?
So I think you even brought it up before. There's so many great lambdas, and I think this bull could be perfect for the lambda blood. The alligators, there's a lot of great alligators because you're going to get the width of chest, and if you want to go more modern bulls like the drop boxes, and I know he's not RC or anything, but like the acetylines that we've got, there's going to be some acetylines here soon getting bred. It doesn't matter if you're milking a couple of hundred cows or trying to make the cow that's going to show at Expo or the Royal or whatever. I think the bull has a lot of places to be used because there's really nothing wrong anywhere. I think those bulls are hard to find.
Adam, would you throw your 2 cents in on how you think you'd use the bull, and will you be using them at Walnutlawn?
So well, and I think you hit it on the head with the Lambda Cross, and I hear that all the time. What are people going to use on Lambda blood? Because it's getting obviously he's a great bull, and it's getting to be out there in most of the pedigrees. And I think what I'd expect is gonna be a lot of width here and a lot of strength. I think he can cross really well, and obviously again, like we mentioned, the milk with the Doc, and then Sidekick. I think everything kind of can come together there in a great cross on Lambda. That'd probably be my number one spot that a bull like this I would be using on.
Well, that's great. Helpful, I think very helpful to our people that are listening, Adam. And, I hope your neighbor Brenneman will listen to this, and he'll probably even gain something out of it if we can still teach that old guy a new trick. It's funny how your family has developed, and now it comes full circle for Mike and I, because we're so excited about this bull.
Really enjoyed chatting here with you guys, and thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. And I know, like all of us that love breeding, we're always trying to breed the next great one and keep the ball rolling.
Mike, you have too. We've both been lucky enough in our careers to have bred some premier sires, or been involved in acquisition of some premier sires at big shows. This bull, in my gut, is one of those bulls. Like, someday I think this guy could get a banner at big shows, both in the heifer show and the open show. Any final thoughts, Mike, on your enthusiasm for Image?
It's finally come time that we release a bull that you and we kind of had high hopes for him, and he was the only Sidekick son of that cow, and he wasn't a bad bull, but this one just had a little extra milk and was a little higher type. It's not like we made 20 of them to make this bull. That just goes to show you again the power of cow families, because as Adam said, if you don't have many swings at it, you better make sure that blood's pretty pure. And I think this bull is one that we're excited about releasing him, and hopefully people get after it right away and make some September calves, because I think he's going to be available right away.
Yeah, and I'll wrap up my end of the conversation with that, confirming that, Mike. The boys at Select Sires have done an amazing job with this bull. He just had his 12-month birthday about 2 weeks ago, and they've already got enough semen up on the bull, both sorted and conventional, that my guess is there'll be some early shortages, because the bull's going to be pretty popular. But we wanted to get him out by late November so people can make their September calves, and he will be ready, and you can get him ordered through your Select Sires representative, Worldwide Sires representative, wherever you are around the world. So it's been a great discussion with Adam from Walnutlawn and Mike Duckett from Duckett Holsteins, continuing our discussion on every bull that we release for Showbox Sires, the evolution of the great cow. And I think today we've talked about so many great cows in this bull's pedigree, whether it's Doc, and you talk about what's in her pedigree, back to old Mark Della. You go to the Abbott bull that's Sidekick sire, and you said it goes back to a Dean and Atlee. And then you go to the Splendors on the bottom side with Sue. It's kind of a who's who. So we're excited about the bull. We hope you'll get hold of your Select Sires rep. And again, his number is 744-HO-17-702 Image. Thanks for joining us, and we'll look forward to hearing from you about your Image calves.